Well, I feel bad for Jackie. Baby, I feel bad for Jackie. I think Jackie's having second thoughts about her guest list. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Basketball Wives. This is season 9, episode 3. And as I said, I believe Miss Jackie is actually having second thoughts about what her actual guest list was. She got Jennifer over there. Jennifer's not in a space of reconciliation at all. OG literally she kinda, I don't know, it's hard to read OG at this point. Like, she's kind of open but not open. I think she's open to have a talk with Shawnee to play whatever the politically correct game is. But as far as really settling, she ain't really trying to settle nothing. It's little comments that she's making are saying, OG still want to fight. OG still wants to fight. She said no one has reached out, no one has owned up to anything, and let them come over here if they want to bond. That don't sound like a person that's in the space of reconciliation. That sounds like a person that wants to keep it going. And the only way she's going to let it not keep going is if they come over and bow down. Bow down, admit you were wrong, and say that I'm right. Well, good luck with all that. Good luck with all that. Now, Jackie, I'm looking at Jackie spinning. Jackie, you could tell right away, Jackie really wants to be over at the other house with the other girls. She does. She wants to be over there because really the only person that got a real bad problem with her is Malaysia. And Jackie knows in her spirit that at some point Malaysia will crack and they'll be able to fix whatever it is, because she always fixes her situations with Malaysia. I think Jackie, this is just me, from what I'm seeing, it looks like Jackie's like, damn, why did I do this? Like, I'm over here. And I just realized that they're actually going to be there for 2 weeks. It's 14 days. That is a long time to be stuck in a house with some folks that ain't trying to do what you're trying to do. 2 weeks? And then it's constant. You can't just be coming and going. And I don't know what the distance is, because these houses are not one up the street, one down the street. There's some distance between these houses. So you can just walk up to where they're at. So, I don't know. But anyway, Jackie being Jackie, doing her strange Jackie stuff. When she was telling OG about how to have a boy, because OG's talking this talk about, oh, we're trying to have a little nugget. Can we get a ring going? Houses, babies, no talk of a ring. Ain't nobody talking about it but you. I don't know. Anyway, but Jackie done told the girl, you got to do doggy style for like 3 days and then do missionary for 2. Jackie weird, child. I said, Lord have mercy. Anyway, back over to the other house. Phoebe ends up calling. Everybody else is showing up. Like, all the girls are showing up. They're all happy to see each other, everything like that. Phoebe is a no-show. They're like, where the hell are you? Evelyn ended up FaceTiming with Phoebe. Here, Phoebe's been exposed to the virus. Someone who was around her was diagnosed with COVID. So she's quarantining. And she says, when she's done, she'll go ahead and come, as long as she doesn't have it. And she was saying, the person was basically asymptomatic, but they tested positive for COVID. So I thought it was cool. And then Shawnee said it later on, that was really cool of her to think of us first, and not put us in danger, because she doesn't have anything going on so far that she could see, but she didn't just put us in danger. She took it upon herself and stepped up and said, you know what, I'm just going to hang back. So that was cool. That really was cool. And this is this type of stuff that needs to go on with the way things are. You got to think of other people as well as yourself. You have to think of other people. And I mean, it's a weird space to be in. You know, I've not, had a run in myself with COVID that closely like that. So I don't know. It's weird, but I remember, I'll say this. I remember when I first started chemo and all of that back in 2015, I wasn't allowed to really go around people. My chemo was so intense that I was to stay away from people for, it was months. I really stayed away from people. So I kind of know how that feels to literally, like, you just be kind of by yourself with, like, I was just me and my mom, for the most part, and other than when I was at the hospital, because I would actually go to the hospital, and my chemo wasn't like you go do an hour session and you leave. No, I was 96 hours straight on the machine. So I would literally go into the hospital on a Tuesday, and then I would stay in the hospital until Sunday, go home for 21 days, and then you do it all over again. And then those 21 days, for like that first dang near 3 months, I wasn't around nobody when I wasn't at the hospital. People wasn't just coming back. I wasn't around folks. You know what I mean? I wasn't around people. So that is, I understand. I understand the whole quarantining thing and kind of not being around people. It's a weird space. It's a weird space to be in, but just this whole thing of like COVID and if you say you've been around somebody that's had COVID, people are like you got leprosy. You know what I mean? It's like they're looking at, that's kind of, yeah. My situation was more, I stayed away from people to make sure I'm okay, that they don't give me anything they was carrying. But I can't even imagine people wanting to stay away from you because they're afraid that you might give them some. That's got to be a whole head trip. That's a whole head trip. Like, really? Like, people are afraid to be around you? I don't know. And people, anybody who's actually had this situation, have you tested and you feel like sharing that, please share it in the comments. What is that like? Like, what's that about? How did you feel? How did you feel? I mean, that's got to be a head trip. You're like, no, I'm not, I'm okay. I'm not, you know what I mean? Because you quarantine and then, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be fine. But up until that point, people just kind of looking at you funny like, And I know there's people that still, even when people have quarantined or after they've had COVID, people still looking at them like, So anyway, if any of y'all want to share in the comments, what type of like headspace, that's where I'm interested. What type of headspace did that put you in? If you've been close proximity and have had to quarantine, not like everybody, but the fact that you've been in close proximity, what type of headspace did that put you in? I'm really interested to know. Put it in the comment, would you please? I read all my comments, so please do if you feel like sharing. Thank you. Anyway, let's, you know what? I done got real deep here. Real deep. So, here's a little break. Check this out real fast. www.cheztreasure.com. Ooh. Okay, all right, now let's go back to what we were talking about. All right, so, yeah, Phoebe's hanging back, and whenever she's cleared to go, she'll come. Jen, it became very evident at a point that Jen had gotten up underneath Jackie's skin. She's really negative, like really negative Nancy with this whole thing, and said, "Oh, you want to go up there with them? Oh, you going up there?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm getting ready to go up to the other house for a bit, and say hey to the other ladies, and then I'll be back down or whatever." Not making them go, not forcing them to go, but this is what I'm doing. I'm gonna run in between. I'm going on up there. And she was trying to give her that, I don't see her. Baby, when I tell you that Jackie told Jen, she said, listen. Because Jennifer told her, she said, don't be bringing that bad energy back down here with you. She told her, she said, listen, let me tell you something. Bad energy. I could bring anything down here that I want up in this mother. If I want to bring the devil himself naked up in here, I can. I was like, oh, okay. So this is my space that I invited you into. And she told her, she said, you're going to need to leave that alone, because if you don't stop, Jennifer, me and you going to have a problem. I was like, whoa, now we ain't even 24 hours. Hell, we ain't 12 hours into just getting her. She said, yeah, if you can't do all this job, we're going to place some different arrangements. What, girl? I was like, oh my gosh. So anyway, back up at the other house. Eliza and Shawnee was having a little conversation, and the conversation was about this $200,000 school money that was established from her and Lamar for the kids. And she got this one boy, I think he's 17 or 18, he's getting ready to go to college, and they're trying to get him enrolled and everything. So it's time they need this money, and she keeps getting the runaround. Miss Eliza, girl, anytime, listen, I've been here for quite a while on the planet, girl, and even when people who got money start hemming and hawing and backpedaling and pussy popping about some money, there's an issue. Girl, I don't know, you might not should have been on the trip, sis. You might should have been somewhere, have Lamar up in a chokehold about your money, because all that hemming and hawing, what we hemming and hawing about? You didn't be cutting a check, period. Now, later on in the program, Eliza actually was talking to her boy on the phone, and what I didn't like is now the child is kind of involved, because he's like, yeah, I talked to my dad, and this, that, thing, and the other, and she's like, well, I kind of, I didn't like the fact that he didn't kind of step up to his dad and really talk about it. And he said, he basically kind of, he did mention the money a little bit, but he kind of just went around it. He didn't like double down on his dad about it. First of all, it really ain't for him to double down on his dad. He's his dad. What y'all got going on is some adult business. You laid down with Lamar. He was the product of you and him having a great time. Kids don't need to be put in the middle of adult stuff. That's a bad idea. And especially your child that's at 17 or 18, be putting him at odds with his father and about some money. Baby, that's between you and Lamar. Y'all need to get that together. And if you can't get that together with Lamar, then you need to go ahead and do whatever steps that you need to do to get things taken care of for your child. But putting your child in the middle of it, no, sis. No, I don't. I'm not a fan of that at all. At all. Males, egos, son versus father. No, girl. That's a recipe for disaster. That's a recipe for disaster. It's something that they may never be able to get back from. That's a bad idea, Eliza. I don't even know you all like that yet, girl. That's a bad idea, sis. Anyway, and the girls were talking to her that they suggested her, girl, you need to move on from him. Because are you sure that you really are done with the whole Lamar thing? You need to move on from him. And it sounds like it, because it seemed a little too sticky. Girl, I ain't in agreement with that. Y'all put it in the comments what y'all think, honey. So anyway, let's talk about Jackie. Jackie visit. She got there. When I tell you Malaysia paid Jackie complete dust. When Jackie was coming through the door, they were all just getting ready to get sitting in the common area. Malaysia got up and left. Went somewhere else in the house. And then Jackie comes in, and she wants to take a tour of the house. So they touring her around. Evelyn's touring her around, and they run into the area where Malaysia is sitting by herself, and Malaysia paid Jackie dust. Got up and walked off from that area, paid her complete dust. She not ready. But now Malaysia, you know, that's putting some negativity into the situation. You know, it's come on. You adding to the problem. That whole thing, that's adding to the problem. So either you want to do it or you don't want to do it. But that, sis, that's adding to the problem. And you know how Jackie is. You did that to get up underneath her skin, and it did. It did. You know it did. You know how Jackie is. Jackie's soft. It got right up underneath Jackie's skin. Mission accomplished. It was a checkmate. You know. So, like, what you going to do, Malaysia? You trying to carry it on? You trying to fix it? What you trying to do? Right now, you playing. You playing. And you add to the problem. Anyway, moving on. Kristen states, when they all sat down in the common area, Kristen states she wants to sit down and talk privately with OG. She wants to actually sit down and really talk to her, really hear her out, and try to understand where the colorism issues actually comes from. And also maybe how they could actually move forward on what their bad energy has been between the two of them. But a lot of it, Kristen says, you know, she really wanted to know where OG's mind is with this, and you know how we got here. So that was that. Shawnee says she's still open, but she isn't for any of Jen's bullshit, because Jackie stated, you know, Jen is basically saying, you know, she ain't here for the reconciliation or whatever. She ain't really open to nothing too much. And like Shawnee said, listen, I wished her well twice in the past, and I'm good with that. You know, I'm open to talk, but I ain't for none of Jen's bullshit. I ain't for no bullshit. I ain't here for no drama with Jen attached to it. Period. So that was that. The girls' stance is pretty much their stance is pretty much like OG is making it up. She's making it up, the whole colorism thing. And Shawnee did say, she says, now, what I'll admit to favoritism, by all means. I'll admit to favoritism when it comes to OG versus Evelyn. I'll admit to favoritism. She is my best friend. And have I let her get away with some things? Yes, absolutely. She's my best friend. So I will admit to favoritism. But that colorism stuff, no. That's not, no. So I says, okay, all right. So that's their stance. We know where OG is. I don't know where we're going. But anyway, so Kristen goes. Jackie leaves. Kristen, shortly after that, gets herself together. She goes. I'm laughing at them because they got themselves together over at the other house. Jen, OG, and Jackie, they're all dressed up, you know, for dinner and everything. And here comes Kristen. She just in like sweats or whatever. She was like, oh, okay. She had a conversation with her husband on the her boyfriend. Are they married? I don't think they're married yet. I can't remember whether they're married or not. But anyway, her and her dude, they had a conversation. He was like, well, I don't even know why you even doing that, having that conversation. But don't expect too much. It is what it is. Maybe not, but don't be all out of sorts if y'all can't come to something. You know, just don't worry about it. So Kristen gets over there, and they sit down. And the energy is off. It's already off. Jen didn't even need to be at the table, because you already on some shit. You're on something to where you want confusion, basically. So you don't even need to be sitting there, really. OG and Kristen start, and Kristen basically tells her, she says, you know, I just don't understand. I really don't understand where it's coming from, because I'm dark-skinned as well, just like you are, and I don't get it, like the whole colorism thing. And she says, it's from all of y'all. And Kristen was kind of shocked at the fact that she said, me too. She's like, yeah, you too. She's like, it's not about your color versus my color. With you, it's features. Here we go. Here we go. See, this stuff came up in my comments last season about features. And I was like, huh? Now I get it. I get it about her having like a keen nose and different things like that. And okay, but I'm not playing this game. I'm not playing this game, OG. I ain't playing this game. I'm not. If it comes down to a situation where you talking about features, girl, it seems like the insecurities pretty much lie on your side. Now, either you are comfortable or you're not. But I don't know about this feature thing, y'all. I don't know about that. That just seemed like a reach to me. Features? So is it really about colorism, or is it really about attractiveness versus non-attractiveness, which was my original stance with the whole thing? And it wasn't even about a wide nose versus a thin nose versus a... They ran some footage where there was a thing with Phoebe, where Phoebe made a comment where she said, I ain't never said nothing about color with you. I think you're ugly. I don't find you attractive. And that's what I said. That is what I said. And I am the same color as OG. I'm just as dark as OG, if not darker than OG. It was never about color for me. It was never about features, specific features. I just don't find OG attractive. I don't. I don't find her attractive. But there are, like I said, there's light-skinned folks that I don't find attractive too. It wasn't about that. So I'm like, what are we really talking about here? Girl, you got some insecurities of your own. And you're deflecting at this point, putting that shit on to other people. This feature thing. I said, are you kidding me right now? Okay, but I said, let me keep listening. She put down when she said, I experienced some colorism from you, Kristen. And she told Kristen when her and Evelyn were fussing, they were fussing, and Kristen stated this, it was basically stated in her confessional when the show was going on. So this is her thing after the fact. It wasn't when it was going on. This is when it aired, when we all seen it together. In her confessional, she was saying that she was cool with the receipts that Evelyn had thrown out. And then, y'all remember it, Evelyn, she's like, oh my God, Evelyn got these receipts on her. She's like, oh my gosh, okay. And then when OG was like, girl, let me go get my phone. And she's like, girl, what you got in your phone, girl? But she got like printed out receipts. She said that right there was an act of colorism. Reach. Totally reaching. That wasn't no act of colorism. What that was Kristen's friends with Evelyn, and she wasn't friends with you. Y'all couldn't stand each other. And she was open. It's like, okay, girl, she getting you. That's all. It was petty. She already was saying, basically, girl, she let her have it without even seeing what receipts you had. Because when she broke out her receipts, she actually cracked Evelyn's face. When she broke, ooh, baby. When she broke out those receipts in that phone from Chez, on Evelyn, by all means, I ain't mad with you, Miss OG. You cracked Evelyn's face. Completely cracked her face. But an act of colorism? No, ma'am. I can't give you that one. Sorry. That's some bullshit. But anyway, petty? Yes, it was petty. It was petty. And you did have the better receipts after the whole shebang. You really did. You cracked Evelyn's face. God, did she crack Evelyn's face. But it, girl, Evelyn, she lit Evelyn. I'm sorry, y'all. She lit Evelyn up. That was epic. Anyway, moving on. So she told her, you always seem to go with the light skin versus the dark skin. Bullshit. That's bullshit, OG. You trying it. You just, girl, that's bullshit. She went with the friend versus the enemy. That's what she did. That had nothing to do with color. It had to do with the fact she ain't like you. Remember? You threatened to break her nose and all that bullshit. You thought she was going to side with you? It had nothing to do with your color. It had to do with she didn't like your ass. That's what it had to do with. Moving on. Now we talk about this aggression thing came up again. The whole aggression thing came up again. Oh, that aggression, this, that, and the other. They're trying to make her like the angry black woman. But aren't you? Aren't you? Weren't you? Weren't you aggressive? You were. So is Evelyn. But you were. You were. And it kept coming out. You aggressive now. Right here on episode 9, or episode 3, season 9, you was aggressive, sweetheart. The girl literally sat there and you called her a fucking hoe up underneath your breath. While y'all sitting there just having a regular conversation. You don't think that's aggressive? And I'd love to see what y'all got to say in the comments. Did you all notice? Because she said it under her breath and they put it on the bottom of the screen so you couldn't miss it. She said, "Sorry, fuck with these fucking hoes." Called her a fucking hoe. And the energy in the room wasn't nothing like that. They just talking. You called her a fucking hoe. Then you went back, they went to the break and the break or draw comment, and you doubled down on it tonight and said, I said this, that, thing, and the other, and then you reiterated and basically told her that you did her a favor by not breaking her jaw, that you would break her jaw. You aggressive again, sis. Come on, y'all. Come on. OG playing games. You playing games. And you don't want you don't want reconciliation. You want to be right. You want to be right. That's what I see. I don't know nothing about this. I'm telling you, I don't see it like that. I really don't. That stuff with Evelyn, ugly. Her and Evelyn, I ain't getting in that. Evelyn out of order. That monkey shit and all that. Evelyn, listen, girl, you can't explain that away. You can't. That's the colorist statement. It is. When you start putting monkeys and shit, and it is what it is. You can't get out of that. Just, girl, you can either double down on it, you apologize, whatever. But as far as everybody in the cast, no, I'm not buying that. I'm sorry. I'm not buying that. That monkey shit, though, that monkey shit's out of order. That monkey shit was out of order. It was. But as far as the whole cast and all that, no. No. Evelyn was out of order, but you went after everybody and it just grew legs and it's a whole mess. A whole mess. Anyway, so they did all that. Kristen went on back up to the house. You know, it's like, girl, we really ain't getting nowhere. I mean, I kind of learned some of what she's saying she experienced. You know what I mean? This, that, thing, and the other. But nothing really got done. Nothing really got done. She's doubled down on what her stance is. They're doubled down on what their stance is. And we haven't gone anywhere. We haven't gotten anywhere. What did happen, Jackie got to talk to OG and Jen. And she was like, listen, you all are way negative. Y'all ain't trying to bend. Y'all ain't trying to really hear nothing. Y'all nasty. Like, y'all's disposition with this whole thing is just nasty. And it is what it is. Jackie, they're grown women. They're grown women. Now, this is the truth of the matter. They're grown women, and they don't have to reconcile. That's the one thing I ain't said since we've been doing this. They don't have to reconcile. They don't. So I'm going to stand right there with Jen and OG at this point. It's their Pennsylvania privilege not to never forgive, forget, reconcile, none of it. They don't have to, Jackie. They don't have to. They don't have to. Just like Malaysia ain't got to reconcile with you if she don't want to. Everybody here is grown. But don't pretend. Don't pretend. Just say you ain't. You ain't. But you making up some shit. They making up shit. You know? It ain't about no colorism. Yes, you and Evelyn got a color. Y'all got an issue. Y'all got an issue. Y'all got to fight that out. Or just leave each other alone. But this about this cast against you and colorism. Sorry, OG. I ain't taking your side on it, sis. I think you are putting 20 on 10. Like, you're putting 20 on 10. You are, other than the situation that's dealing with Evelyn. Now, but with Shawnee and all the rest of them and that mess with Kristen, girl, that was a whole reach. You were reaching like you was playing basketball. You play football, sis. You play football. And on that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave. Jackie, I feel sorry for you because you put yourself in a bad position. Girl, you stuck on a 14-day vacation with some girls that's going to drive your ass crazy. Because they ain't doing what you want them to do. Jackie, they're grown. They're grown. But you know, you love a Ponderosa and you love mess. Welcome to your own mess, Miss Christie. You put yourself in that position. I feel sorry for you, sis, but you did put yourself in that position, and I know you're unhappy. Anyway, all right, y'all. I'll catch y'all on the next episode. Later.